See my muscles in the belly here. Um, I think we're live. We're live on Instagram. Looks like we're live on YouTube. So if you are on YouTube or watching the replay, feel free to drop comments as we go through this. So this is going to be all about process maps. And if you haven't heard of process maps before, well, then this is your introduction to process maps and why, as an online business owner, you need to stop ignoring them. Because I know a lot of um, online business owners or entrepreneurs, they do not want to deal with process maps. They don't think it's important. They don't understand the benefits to them. So today's episode, we're going to talk all about process maps, and we're going to talk how it'll help you with make your processes more efficient, make your team more productive, help you with costs, and increase your customer satisfaction. So now that I've talked about the benefits of everything right now, right off the bat, let's understand what process maps are and how they can help you and their purpose. So, what is a process map? If you've never heard of one, it is a visual representation of a sequence of steps, activities, and decisions within a process. There's 10 different kinds of process maps. So that's where people can get confused and overwhelmed, which then therefore doesn't make them want to use them. I have a background in this because my degree and my background is operations management. And part of that was making these process maps. And there's different kinds, like I said. So there's swim lane diagrams, which are really, really complicated. Not they're not really complicated, but they can look intimidating from if you don't know anything about them. There's flow charts, there's value stream maps, and etc. My two favorite are flow charts and value stream maps, and those are the ones I use most with my clients. So I don't have a visual. If you're on Instagram, I can't really share my screen with you to show visual, and on YouTube, I don't have a visual pulled up. But if you followed me for a while, I have shown examples, and I think there might be some other video content that I have where I walk you through a couple of clients' um, flow charts. So with how I run my process mapping sessions or do process maps with my retainer clients, my operational clients, I kind of combine the value stream map and I am combine the flow chart. So a flow chart is just a visual representation of a process or a workflow using symbols, arrows, and connectors to illustrate the sequence of steps and decision points. So if you have the diamond, that's a decision point. Usually that's what it represents. Um, if you're a back pocket ops member, you have access to our process mapping PDF that helps walk you through the symbols and how to get started with that. But the flow chart depicts the flows of activities, inputs, and outputs within the process, and it highlights the order of operations and the relationships between the different steps so we can document, analyze, and communicate the process very clearly. I love using these because it's simple, it shows your process visually because a lot of people don't always understand the SOP or the process when it is um, laid out in a written format. So a flow chart is a great way, especially if you have people on your team who are visual learners, to on how to um, understand the process. So they're very simple. They can be very linear, but they also can be very complex, especially if you have a lot of decision making. And usually they'll be a little bit more complex for my clients when we're mapping out all their offer suites and all their product suites, especially in the VIP days that I do, because we deep dive into every single offer and how that can affect the client journey. So that flow, and then a value stream map is a visual representation of the steps and processes involved in delivering a product or a service to the end customer. It's a comprehensive view of the entire value stream. So, where are you adding value from now? The initial touch point, or if you are a product-based business, you'll see it say like the initial raw material acquisition to the final product or service delivery. For my online service providers who have more intangible goods, it's going to be that initial touch point that we talk about a lot for in the sales slash marketing sequences systems, all the way to delivering that service and final product to your client. But we take it together here in our business and make sure that we look at the offboarding process and how can you continue to nurture those clients, because if you have that mapped out and looked at, you can capitalize on those leads and those repeat clients so that you can have a nurture system in place, because it's actually cheaper to have a repeat client than it is to nurture and attain a new lead. So I just was on a call this morning with a connection call. She was talking about how she was going to offboard these clients, but they were wanting more services. She didn't have anything right now. There were things she could offer. And I was like, you're missing out on money. You are missing out on the potential of these clients love you. They want to keep working with you. Let's get you set up with another offer that makes sense in a logical step. So we want to make sure that we have a vision and a plan and that our offers all connect. So having the value stream map for one offer and seeing how it connects to another offer in a flow chart is super, super valuable, especially as as the CEO of your business. You really want to know you what you can provide your clients. That takes you from freelancer to CEO. So the value stream map, it helps organize organizations like your company identify areas for process improvement. It helps you reduce your lead times, because usually with the value stream map, we try to identify lead times when it comes to that. So that's like a manufacturing term that I use a lot, but you may not know your lead times as a service provider. So we want to help hone in on that. And this identifies that gap that is sometimes missing, where my clients who are service providers, they don't really know how long something takes. So there's tools and steps we can take to eventually identify those. And it really does enhance your customer experience, because you're looking at your value stream as a whole. And we look at, what are non-value added steps, because sometimes you don't see them until they're all laid out in front of you, because you're just so busy in the day to day. You don't see that there's steps involved that are minute or could be automated or could be eliminated in a whole, because they don't actually add value. And that's what we call time wasters or money wasters in our business. So we can improve by doing this. You improve your client journey, your customer experience as a whole. And that's how it's going to tie back into reducing costs and making your team more efficient. And because it allows us to identify those gaps so much easier, or it pinpoints those. Because I was doing a ClickUp build a couple weeks. I'm still doing their build, but we did their process mapping and their flow mapping at the beginning of the build, and they didn't realize how many gaps, because I came in and we were talking about processes, and I was like, okay, what's the next step here? Or what's the handoff? So sometimes those things are myth, and that's where your errors are going to pop up, or when those handoffs are not clearly identified. So having the process map for your business as a whole is going to help you so much. And that's where we're going to come into, this is a good transition for benefits. So if anyone's watching live, please ask questions if you're not sure of what I'm going through, because it is a lot of heavy content. If you're watching the replay, feel free to mention they're watching the replay and ask questions still. So we just talked about the value stream and the flow chart, and I was just talking about those extra benefits of if you're someone to do things, those steps could potentially be eliminated. So there's a lot of ways for you to reduce costs in your business by going through this. And it's going to help your team be more productive. So by having these process maps, it, like I said, improves clarity. So the process maps give you a concise and clear visual of complex processes. And the reason, as an online business owner, they're so overlooked is because, one, people don't know about them, and two, they're intimidated by them, because maybe you started as a business owner, as an entrepreneur, and you kind of I always call them my accidental entrepreneurs. You don't have a business background, you don't really know much, and you're just kind of learning as you go. With my online service providers, sometimes they don't know that they're missing steps or they're missing opportunities until we document these processes in those value streams / flow charts, so that they can see a visual. And it really does provide clarity for them, for their employees. And it also provides as a training tool going forward, when they do start to hire. If you're not hiring, it's still a good tool later on down the road. And what we do when we look at our process maps with our clients, we are identifying a manual step, what's an automated step, which area is like what tool is being used in that automation. And if there's any resource, we link everything back into that process map so that a team member could come in and see this. And so they could see, okay, this is the resource for this step and it links back. Or if you go and make updates, because we're going to talk about in a little bit how these process maps are so great for continuous improvement. That you can easily go to one place in your business, go to this process map and find where, oh, I made a change at this step. I need to go and update this Word document or this email copy. Or if they're new, you're like, okay, we need to make a change here at the, let's just say it's like a sales process. So we'll say, okay, we're making a change at this buying point, and that's going to affect an automation. We'll list like what tool that automation is, whether it's native to the software it's in, like ClickUp or Dipsado or whatever, or is it something that lives in Zapier? Do we need to go in there and make that update? So it makes everything really easy to see, and it helps with continuous improvement, because if you're reviewing these on a quarterly, yearly basis, it'll make it easier for your organization to identify areas for enhancement, and you can kind of see your progress, because I know it's a lot to set them up initially, but they're a great resource to have for your company as you're growing and as you're going forward. Like I said, before, it helps identify bottlenecks and it helps identify wasters in your business. So we can see where the inefficiencies are, because it's all laid out. It's very clear. It's visual. It helps us optimize your processes and your systems so much more, where we can see like, oh, hey, we need to set up an automation that has these two tools talking, or we need a handoff point that's a manual handoff point. Or we can identify really quickly, like, this isn't sustainable because you only have one person. If this person was out, like, so those are the type of bottlenecks we can identify. And it, like I said before, it allows for better communication because of that clarity and understanding the handoffs between department to department. It allows us to assign ownership to steps. So when someone's actually assigned ownership, it's more likely to get done. It's not going to fall through the cracks. So if you are an online business owner and you're like, I don't know what I could even use this for, I'm going to share with you a couple of quick applicable examples that you can use, and the ones that we've done in our business to help clients. It looks like I'm having like a weird, hopefully I'm still live on YouTube, but some ways that you can use process maps in your online business if you're struggling, and then also ways that we've done it in the past / still offer for our clients. So if you book a VIP day with us, you will most likely go through this process, because that's what we do for a majority of the 4 hours we're together. And we also identify your goals and your vision. And once we get through the process map, we also, if you don't have it, go through a team structure if you're looking to hire, like what that would look like. So this is what we do on our VIP days. And so one applicable way as an online business owner that you can use a process map or a flow chart is your website user experience. So that'll help you optimize the experience for when people come to your website. You can map out your customer journey from a landing page on the website to the thank you page to the opt-in point, the email sequences. So it'll help for you to identify where there might be a gap on the page, or where your pages need to point, improve your navigation, and streamline your overall flow. Order fulfillment is a huge one. If you're an online e-commerce business, if you sell physical out, the order fulfillment process, that would show the steps involved in receiving orders all the way to delivering orders, which is self-explanatory of why this is beneficial, because it'll definitely help you identify the bottlenecks, streamline the workflow, and reduce your processing time. Because when you're working with a product-based business, it's easier to identify those lead times and those processing times because it's a little bit more predictable. So that will help reduce your shipping lead time typically. For customers, so another example is using Process Map to map out your customer support in an online business. So what does it look like to submit a ticket? What happens after they submit a ticket? Or how can they submit a ticket? And a ticket might mean an email, it might mean submitting a form, it might mean anything of the sort. So what happens once they submit? How do they submit? And then how can we make this process easier and more streamlined? We've done that before with clients to look at, they have a membership, they have a group program. What does their support piece look like? And oftentimes it's just a support email that can get really cluttered up. So we've set it up in ClickUp so that they can submit an email and the email will automatically forward to the ClickUp list, which will then assign and go through the process that we've identified in the ClickUp list. So map out that process and put it into ClickUp and set up the automations. So that is how we do that. And then another one is content creation and publishing. This is a huge one for my clients. I'm working on that ClickUp build now. And we are mapped out their content. They're a huge content creation agency, and they do a lot with advertising and monetization. So mapping out the ways that they publish content is going to be such a game changer for them, because right now their team is remote, they're all over the place, and it can be really, really confusing, especially for new people. So we will look at, how they're creating blog posts, how they're repurposing content, because it usually starts with a video and then it'll go to an article, to the podcast, to a blog. So what does that process look like? Where is that flow of information going? Where are those handoffs between departments? That is a huge one, and it really helps us streamline and visualize that. And then another way that you can use process maps is for marketing and advertising campaigns, so that you can plan and execute your advertising campaigns a lot easier. This will allow you to be more coordinated. It gets everyone on the same page. I know it sounds repetitive at this point, but that's really, really simple steps to do to make your team more cohesive. So by using the process maps that we talked about, you can just enhance your efficiency, improve your customer experience, and you will reduce the chances of bottleneck because it's all mapped out and visual. It will make it easier to delegate as you start to grow your business and provide ownership for other members of your team. So if you're interested in process maps and want to help map out your processes, or or look at where your potential bottlenecks are, and you can get a hold of us. That's what we do our VIP days for. We get really in depth, and that's what we're identifying. So it's really easy to get started. My favorite tools for whiteboards and process mapping is Miro. I love Miro. It's easy. You can start for free. I use a contractor paid plan now because I have so many and I have templates. And they have really good templates to get you started. And why I don't recommend ClickUps is because it's still in work. So it sometimes can be a little wonky and doesn't do everything that I would like it to do. But ClickUp is another great tool to map these out, because then it's also natively in your ClickUp so that your team has access to it. But you can also embed those Miro boards as well, because they have great integration, so that you can also create tasks as you're mapping out your process. Because that does come up when you're doing your process maps, like tasks for your team members. So this is a little bit longer of a recording / live, but I think I'm so passionate about this topic, and I think it's such a simple tool to help create efficiency and effectiveness in your business. So let me know if you have questions in the comments below, or if you would like more information on Miro or how you can do this in ClickUp. My DMs are always open. So I can't wait to hear how your process maps go, and I will see you all next week.